And Dasharatha Maharaj was the king of Ayodhya. Ayodhya was the capital of the Solar dynasty. So there was a Solar dynasty. The capital was Ayodhya, and Dasharatha Maharaj was ruling over the Ayodhya kingdom. And Dasharatha Maharaj was having three principal queens. The eldest was the Kaushalya, out of which Lord Ram was born. Then the second queen was Sumitra.
Sumitra.
Yeah, Sumitra. And who were the sons of Sumitra?
Bharat and
Lakshman.
Lakshman, okay. One more son was there.
Shatrughan.
Shatrughan. Very nice, right? And actually, Bharat was the son of the third queen.
Bharat was Keke's.
Keke's, right? So these three kings were there, and these four brothers were there, okay? So how the Ramayana starts is how, everyone was very happy. The Ayodhya was very, very prosperous kingdom, very, very happy kingdom. And one of the days, Dasharatha Maharaj, he has become old also. So Dasharatha Maharaj thinks in his mind that, I have become old now, and I think now I should retire from the very active affairs of the kingdom. I should hand over the kingdom to my successor. So like that, he thinks in his mind, and then he discusses with his ministers that I'm thinking of coronating Lord Ram as my successor, and I want to retire from this so that I can fully devote myself for God consciousness, for cultivating God consciousness. So the ministers, as soon as they hear this, they were very happy. They told, yes, why not? Tomorrow itself, let us have this thing. So even it is being mentioned that how Dasharatha he also becomes a little upset that I have been ruling since such a long time, and the way all of you are showing your eagerness seems that it seems that I have not done something meaningful for all of you. So for one moment, he also feels little dissatisfaction that he thought that maybe they will say, no need to be retired. You're such a wonderful king. Please continue like that. But that was not happening, because people were so happy to hear that Lord Ram is going to become the king. Anyways, so this thing goes, and the plan was being made that how next day Lord Ram is going to be coronated, okay? And the news went to all the Ayodhya Vasis. Everyone was very, very happy in the kingdom. So like this is the beginning of the Ramayana, okay? Everyone is very happy. Tomorrow Lord Ram is going to be coronated. And now from this particular episode, now the focus shifts to the another place. So what the next scene comes is the scene where the scene inside the palace of Kekai. So now Kekai was in her palace, and she was having a maid servant. What was the name of that maid servant? Any of you? The very famous maid servant. Mantra. Yes, thank you. Mantra. So now see this Mantra, she was an elderly, hunchbacked woman. No, she was a hunchbacked lady. So, and she was the favorite maid servant of the Kekai. So now when this news went to Manthara that how Ram is going to become the king next, so she felt a very great sense of insecurity. Why so? Actually, what has happened is Kekai was the most beautiful queen of Dasharatha Maharaj. And because of which, naturally, Dasharatha was having more affection for Kekai. So what used to happen is, Dasharatha will always favor the queen, Kekai, And because Mantra happened to be the queen's favorite maid servant, so like that she was also having a good treatment. Okay. And in one way, like Dasharatha was little bit neglecting the other queens. Okay. But now when this thing came up that how Ram is going to become the next king. So now what happened? Naturally, if Ram will become the next king, then Kekai will no more remain the favorite queen. Kaushalya will become the favorite queen of Dasharatha Maharaj. And naturally then she will also not remain the favorite maid servant. So that insecurity went in her heart that I'm going to lose my position. She already had some burnt things in her heart already. Why? Because she was hunchbacked. So sometimes people had made fun of her. So that's why all the more she was having some burnt heart. And all the more then when this situation came, then she was feeling very insecure that now my position is now going to be lost. So then she plotted a conspiracy. So now she's now telling to Kekai. What she's telling to Kekai? Do you know tomorrow Ram is going to be coronated. He's going to be on the throne. Now Kekai has not heard about it. So as soon as she heard her, she was telling, oh, wonderful to hear this and such a wonderful news. She immediately gave her necklace to her. Take this necklace of mine, for giving such a wonderful news. Now Mantra was thinking, what has happened? Okay, what is the response? It is a completely unexpected response what I'm getting. She told, Arey, you are such a naive person. You don't understand what is going to happen next. Well, what will happen? Arey, Ram is going to become the king now. And naturally, then Kaushalya will become the favorite queen. So then she told, hey, but so what is the difficulty? Anyways, Ram is the eldest son. He only is supposed to become the king. What is the difficulty? Well, that is all right. But see, the thing is that your son will never be able to become the king. And you will also no more remain the favorite queen. And you see, and then she started putting some conspiracy, She does that, see, there's a big conspiracy going on. Because you are very naive, you're not able to understand what conspiracy is going on. So then, now, for the first time, Keke became little, she also started developing some suspicions. She told, okay, what is the matter? She told that, Arey, see, you are such a naive person. You don't understand. You see, Dashrath is trying to make Ram as the king. Okay. Now you tell me one thing. Why he's in such a hurry when your son Bharat is not here in the kingdom? Why he's trying to make this thing in a hurry? Why don't he wait? Why he has not consulted you? No, he should have consulted with you and he should have waited for Bharat to come. Bharat to come. But because now Bharat is not there, so they are making a plot and they are trying to have Ram on the throne. And once Lord Ram will be on the throne, then actually what will happen? Kaushalya will be the favorite queen. And see, Kaushalya will not forget how she has been also neglected by Dashrath because of your presence. So what she will do is she will make you as her maid servant once the Ram becomes the king. Now when see what happened is she started connecting the events that why all of a sudden Dashrath is choosing to he has declared to make Ram as a king next day when Bharat is also out. She started connecting the events and she started creating a sense of insecurity in the Keke's heart also. So now Keke, because she was little innocent, she also thought that maybe she's telling the right thing. Then and once when Mantra saw that now she has come into my court, then she told that okay. So then Keke told, okay, what should be done in this situation now? She told, Arey, one very simple thing you can do. You remember, Dashrath has given you two boons at one point of time. This is the right time to ask for those two boons. So she told, okay, what boon should I ask for? She told you should ask for these two boons. First thing is, Lord Ram should not be coronated. Your son should become the next king. This is the first thing. And second thing is, Lord Ram should be sent for the exile. Okay. So one question for all of you. How many years of exile for Lord Ram?
14 years.
14 years. Correct answer. Good. So second thing is 14 years of banishment or exile for Lord Ram. So now Keke was thinking that this is okay. Lord Ram should not become the king. My son should become the king. But then why having exile for the Bharat for the Lord Ram? So then she told, you see, as long as Ram is going to remain in the kingdom, people will always have a soft corner for Ram. They will not be able to heartily accept your son as the king. So the most important thing is that he should also be out of the kingdom. Then only eventually your son will be accepted by the people of this people of the kingdom. Okay. So like that. So now Kekai has made her mind that this conspiracy has been going on to bereft me and my son from the kingdom. So now I'm going to ask this to Dashrath. So then the next scene goes to the palace. So now what happens is Dashrath Maharaj, because naturally next day was supposed to be the coronation of Lord Ram. So he was into making some arrangements and all. So it became a little late night. Now now afterwards, after finishing all the things, then he came to the palace of Kekai, to his most favorite queen. And when he came to the palace, then he found that Keki was there and she was not in a very good mood. She was looking to be very, very dull, very, very sad. So Dashrath told her, what happened to you? You know what is the good news? Tomorrow Ram is going to become the king. Why you look to be very dull? And then she tells that, I want to ask you for the two boons. Do you remember what two boons you have given me? These two boons at one point of time. Like, yeah, you ask anything, I'm going to give you anything. She says, नहीं, you are just telling like this. आप बस कह रहे हैं कि दे देंगे, but आप कुछ देने वाले नहीं है. नहीं, आप मांगो, मैं जो चाहिए मैं तुम्हें देने के लिए रेडी हूँ. वो बोलती है, पहला बोन चाहिए मुझे, my son should become the king. Ram should not become the king. My lord, Dashrath's heart was broken. Okay, he was just into the preparations. He has not accepted that this is going to come from the KK. Okay, and the second one she told that I want Ram to go to the forest for 14 years of exile. Another second blow on the heart of the Dashrath Maharaj. And Dashrath was feeling, Arey Baapre, Dashath was not able to speak. So actually what happened, immediately Dashath became unconscious. When he heard this thing, which was like quite unexpected, he immediately became unconscious. And now after some time, then he again came into consciousness. And he was feeling as if maybe, I think शायद कुछ सपना देखा होगा मैंने, right? He was feeling कि कुछ सपना अपना देख लिया क्या मैंने, right? तो क्या क्या बोले कि नहीं 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 सपना नहीं है. This is not a dream. This is the reality. What I've asked you. I want these two things. And then Dashrath was trying to pursue her that why do you want this? Are okay, you want to have your son as the king? No problem. You have your son as the king. You want to have your son? Okay, let him be the king. But why do you want Lord Ram to go to the forest? She goes, no. I want to have that. Because Mantra has already prepared her mind. That, please also ask for the second one very, very desperately. Anyways, Dashrath tried to pursue her, but she was not in the mood to listen. And finally, Dashrath told her, okay, fine. If you want to have them, I'm giving you these bones. Okay, accepted. But along with this also ends my relationship with you. But see, even after hearing that, Keke's heart was, her heart has become very, very hard. So she was not minding what Dashrath has told her. And then Dashrath was into full of lamentation, full of grief. He was crying. He was not able to understand that what is going to happen. And then finally Lord Ram comes, and then that news goes to Lord Ram that how these are the two boons which Kekai has asked for. And then the other episode also starts. Okay. So this is what has happened till now. That and then finally Lord Ram also goes to the forest. We know about that thing. Okay. Now Keki was thinking that I am protecting the interest of my son, Bharat. Okay. So she was feeling very happy that, oh, these people were trying to plot against me and my son, and how nicely, how intelligently I have tried to protect the interest of my son. So she was expecting like that. Okay. Now what happened? Dashrath left the body because of such a grief. See this kind of sentence now for 14 years. In those days, it was meant for, it was a second punishment, second worst punishment. The first worst punishment was the execution. No, killing of a person if somebody has done a big criminal activity. Okay, and the second thing used to be just like nowadays we have ना आजीवन कारावास we have. एक तो होता है फांसी, उसके बाद में होता है आजीवन कारावास होता है ना, लाइफ लॉन्ग इम्प्रिजनमेंट. तो ये उसी तरीके से सेकंड लेवल ऑफ पनिशमेंट हुआ करता था. Now Dashrath Maharaj, no, he was feeling so sorry that I am giving this kind of torture punishment to my own son, who is so innocent, who has not done anything wrong at all. And instead of giving him the protection, I am becoming the cause for him to go with this kind of atrocity. So because of this, Dashrath was feeling great grief in his heart. And in that grief, and he left the body. Now the Vasishtha, who was the minister of that kingdom, so actually he immediately sent a message to the Bharat that you please return back to the kingdom. So then Bharat immediately came back to the kingdom. And now when he was returning to the kingdom, he was finding that how the once very cheerful looking city, now it was turned into great sorrow, great despondency. So Bharat was not able to make out that what has happened, why the whole city is down into the grief and the sorrow. So then he landed up inside his kingdom, inside the palace of the mother, and he was expecting to see his father and mother both there, but he found only the mother was there. Kekai was not, only Kekai was there. And then Kekai narrated what the whole incidences which has happened. And once Bharat heard this, Bharat was filled with so much anger, so much, he felt so sorry that, Arey Bapre. He immediately told it, oh foolish lady, what you have done? You are the cause of the destruction of our dynasty. And if only you would not have been my mother, I would have immediately killed you. Like that he does. And for the first time, Kekai was now able to come into the senses. अरे बाप रे मुझसे क्या हो गया? I was thinking कि अरे है ना मैं तो एकदम अच्छा काम कर रही हूँ. This will be the best thing which I'm doing for my son and for myself. But when Bharat told that how this was the worst thing she has done, then she came to her senses actually. So, but what can be done? The things have already gone out of the hands. Lord Ram has already went for the forest now, and Dashrath Maharaj has also left the body. So now it was like an irreversible event. Things couldn't be reversed now anymore. So, but anyways, Bharat was very sorry for the same, and Kekai was also feeling sorry. So like this episode comes. So now this was a small back. So now there are many valuable things which we can learn from this particular episode in our life. Okay, so we'll try to just share some of the things which we can learn, especially in terms of the relationships. It has some very valuable things to teach us in terms of our relationships. So like you see, let me ask all of you only, right? So like from this particular event, especially we want to focus upon the what mistake which Kekai did actually. So would some of you would like to share that what was the mistake with the Kekai? She did some big mistake, right? Anyone?
So Keke accepted the words of mantra as it is. She did not apply her brain. But I think before that, there was a mistake from Dashrath Maharaj, because all the sons were, they love each other very much. They respect Lord Ram very much. There was a good bonding among the brothers.
Correct.
So when Bharat is not there, so he should not be, declaring this coronation in hurry. And obviously, Kekai Maharani was the favorite Maharani. She always went for a war along with Dashrath Maharaj. So I think one should, discuss within the family before going into the court. And discuss with the ministers.
Yes, yes. Good points. Good points you have brought out. We'll discuss about it, right? Thank you. First thing which you told was the very main thing, that the biggest mistake which Kekai did was what? Actually, she uncritically heard from the mantra. She didn't doubt it. She just accepted whatever mantra was telling, whatever cooked up story she was telling. She uncritically, the meaning of uncritically means without any doubts. She just accepted it as it is, as Madam also told this. So this is the main thing which was the mistake from the Kekai side, that she uncritically heard from the mantra. This was the first thing. She didn't consult it with somebody else. She didn't try to take some second opinion about the series of the events which have happened. If only she would have taken some second opinion, then things could have been different. So this was one very big mistake which Kekai did actually. So now what we have for us in our life to learn from this, Also another thing is, even though other people also tried to persuade her, it was not that she just told and then everyone accepted like that. No, Vashisht Muni tried to persuade her. Dashrath Maharaj also tried to persuade her, but she was not ready to listen to anyone else. She has made up her mind. That was also another problem with the Kekai, that she was not ready to take any second opinion. She has made up her mind, and she was taking it as the final thing, what she has heard from the mantra. So I will just open up a PPT presentation which Tushar has made. His spiritual name is Tridham Hari. He's also got spiritually initiated. This is a small PPT which he has made. I will just open it. So of course, I narrated the story. So in this PPT, we'll see some of the things which are the lessons for us to learn in our lives. Okay. So this is basically an incident where we find that there's a great disaster caused by a disinformation. So disinformation means the wrong information or the misinformation. Rather, it's a disinformation because it's a wrong information. So what kind of disaster a disinformation can lead to, that we can learn from this particular episode of Ramayana. So see, like one of the first things mentioned here is that how even good people can also be misled into doing some terrible things. Just like here we find in the case of Kekai now. Kekai was innocent hearted, but because she very, she trusted upon the mantra, and because mantra happened to some stories, she also accepted her. So even sometimes one may be a good person, innocent person, but he may also be misled to do something very, very terrible. That may also happen, which we can see in this particular episode. And of course, this is, I already discussed, she asked for the 2 boons. Okay. I already narrated this story. And how, see, this is another very nice thing written here, that how she has become so hard-hearted. When she was talking to the Dashrath, she became so hard-hearted that she was no more able to feel any affection for the husband. She was not able to feel any maternal affection for her stepson Ram. She was not able to feel any concern for the daughter-in-law Sita Maya. Because Sita also has to naturally move with Lord Ram to the forest. She will also have to suffer with the different difficulties. But she has become hard-headed towards that also. And also their family priest, that is Vashishta Muni. So she has also lost all the respect for the Vashishta Muni. So that is a symptom of the hard-heartedness. Because of the hard-heartedness, she has broken up all the relationships. And then we discussed that how Ayodhya became silent city. And also Bharat Maharaj came and he condemned all the actions of the mother. So as Madam also brought out this point, right? So what was the cause of the Kekai's misunderstanding? Because she was believing uncritically whatever mantra told and didn't sought for the second opinion. So that was the main mistake by the Kekai. Okay, that is same as she became so persuaded by one person's view that she rejected everyone else's advice. So she became so convinced by one person's view that she was not ready to accept any other person's episode. Rather, what should have been done? She should have made a clarification with Dasharat Maharaj. So see now, some of the things which we can learn here is very important, See, in our life also we will find sometimes sometimes we may have some well-wishers in our life. There may be some people who may appear to be our well-wishers, but they may not. Indeed, they may end up coming between us and our real well-wishers, actual well-wishers. Just like in this case, we find that Mantra is appearing to be a well-wisher of KK. But what has happened actually is she has ended up becoming or coming up between the actual well-wishers of the KK, who were the Dashrath and other people, personalities. So same way, we may have also some kind of such well-wishers in our life, who may appear to be well-wishers, but they may end up becoming a big block between us and our real well-wishers. For example, like in our families, in our relationships, there may be some family relatives who may come between the relationships of the man and the woman, husband and the wife, who may create some misunderstanding between the husband and the wife also. Or if you talk about the offices, like you are working into some particular team, you are working with some particular colleagues. So some of the colleague, he may also come up between you and your relationship with the boss because of some envy or because of some insecurity. He may also cook up some stories, or he may also give some wrong picture to the boss, and in that way he may also come up between us and our boss. So that's why what is very important in our life, So this is the one first lesson which is being written here. When someone casts an aspersion on the loved one, rather than believing the accuser, we should give accuser a chance to clarify. Okay. Second thing it says is we need to talk to the people instead of talking about the people. Okay. So this is one very important thing, that like if we find that we have come across some doubts, some suspicion about some person or some person's particular behavior, then many times what happens is that we do form some conception about that. We do develop some understanding about it. So rather than developing some concrete understanding about that, one of the first things we should do is we should always try to clarify it with the person who is being accused, rather than trying to directly justifying that accusation. We should first try to clarify the accusation. So one of the main problems which is there in everyone's life is that people do talk about each other. They do talk about each other, this person is doing like this, he's proud, or he's little greedy, or he's acting in this particular way. Many times we do talk about other people, right? But rather than talking about the person, it is always good if we can talk with the person and, okay, see, this is what I got to see from you, and it doesn't look to me very, very palatable. So can you please clarify that why you're acting in this particular manner? So if we will do like that, then it will solve a lot of complications. Otherwise, what happens is we sometimes end up with a lot of complexities in the relationships, because we have made some conception about a person. Now, many of the times those conceptions may not be there really. But then what happens, because we have made a set of frame of mind, then what happens is the series of the misunderstandings goes on. And naturally we lose the relationships, we lose the trust, etc. etc. So one of the main factors why people are dissatisfied in the modern times is because they don't have a trustworthy relationships in their lives. In the Vedic time, you will find everyone used to have a lot of relationships. There used to be the culture of the joint families. No, there will be big families. There was one record, I think Guinness record. There's one family where they're having some 80 people living together. Chacha, Mama, Nana, Dada, all people are there. 80 people, they stay together. That's a Guinness record. And of course, in the earlier times, it was a common thing. So why people were able to be together? Because they used to have great trust in each other. And of course, that was coming ultimately because everyone was having some spiritual understandings. They were having some connection with the God. So that's why they were able to have some divine qualities in their life. They were able to act in a selfless manner. They were trying to be each other's well-wisher. So because they were having a connection with the divine, they were able to have some divine qualities in their life. And because of which what was there, it was very easy for them to gel with each other. So in the Vedic time, because people were having very warm relationships with each other, that's why it was very satisfying. You'll find हमारे लाइफ में भी आप देखेंगे ना कि अगर हमारे पास में satisfying relationships होते हैं, तो उससे बहुत एक अच्छा एक अलग level of satisfaction हमारे पास में आता है, जो किसी और बाकी चीज से नहीं आ सकता है. You may have best of the bungalows, you may have best of the cars, you may have best of the wealth, but जो happiness मिलता है satisfying relationship से, वो बाकी किसी चीज से नहीं मिल पाता है. इससे हम देखेंगे कि even people who are millionaires, billionaires, if they don't have this aspect of satisfying relationships, the relationships which are based upon the true love, selflessness, then you will find that they are most pathetic if they don't have that kind of relationships. So in the Vedic time, people were having, see, this is the real opulence of life, the opulence of relationships. Because if you have relationships, then you will be happy in your life. So in the Vedic times, people were having great opulence of relationships in their life, and because of which they used to feel great satisfaction in their life, and because of which naturally they don't used to go for some dirty things. Why do people want to go for some dirty things in life? Because they are seeking for some satisfaction, they are seeking for some happiness. So, but if that need is being fulfilled by the means of some good relationships, then actually a person will not want to go for the dirty things in the life. Okay? So this is one very important thing we can learn here, that how when it's a matter of some confusions, some doubts and all, it's always good that we can ask the person, rather than making a khichdi or making a hodgepodge out of that. Better is to ask the person, the exact version that why person is acted in certain particular manner. Then that will help us to be freed from a lot of complexities. Otherwise, what happens? The mind also becomes occupied. If some action is there of some person which we are not able to, which does not fit into our intellect, then what happens is our mind tends to cook so many things. It tries to connect with some past incidences. It tries to connect with many of the other things. So the mind becomes fully occupied by all those negativities. But if we clarify the things, then sometimes we may get completely different picture of the entire episode which you may be seeing. That may be there. Okay. So this is one of the first things we can learn here, that how we should not we should talk to the people instead of talking about the people. Okay. Also, another thing is very important. Third point which is mentioned here is that how when we are trying to when we are trying to seek for the clarifications, then it should not be done in a accusatory manner. Accusatory manner means आपने already अपना मन बना लिया है कि ठीक है उसने ऐसा किया था, इसका मतलब है कि वो ऐसे सोच रहा होगा. तो अगर आप ऐसे बोल के if you will approach the people like this कि अरे आप हमेशा ऐसे कर लेते हो, you have done like this, I'm very sure कि आपने ऐसे किया होगा. Then what will happen is person's heart will be broken. So it's always better to put the facts and the figures. Okay, sir, this is what I got to see, or this is what I got to hear from the people. Can you please explain to me? I was not able to understand this. If we present it in this particular manner, this is called as a non-accusatory manner, then what will happen? Then the person will not feel hurt. Otherwise, what will happen? The person will feel hurt actually. Sometimes, first of all, we ourselves are not very clear that whether the person's intent were bad or not, whether he has really acted out of some bad intentions or not. Now, all the more if you know what you say, if you blame a person like that, then the person's heart will be broken. So I just remember, there was one saying by Kabir. What was that? I don't know. Some of you can help me, but I can tell the meaning. What it says is that what is the nature of relationships? So relationships is like the rope. He says, So in case if you catch a rope and if you tightly, अगर आप हम उसको बहुत अच्छे से खींचते हैं, मान लीजिए रिलेशनशिप इज लाइक द रोप. तो अगर हम उसको ब्रेक कर देते हैं, तो अभी ब्रेक करने के बाद अगर वापस जोड़ना भी चाहेंगे, then what will happen if you want to connect some two disconnected ropes, then what will be there? एक गांठ उसमें लग जाएगा, राइट. वापस वो रोप वापस बन सकता है, लेकिन उस रोप में वो पहले जैसा रोप नहीं बनेगा, उसके अंदर एक गांठ जरूर रहेगा एक्चुअली. So I don't know. Any of you know that shloka? Any of you know that? This is by Kabir, I think. Kushal, do you know? Rahiman, sorry, this is not by Kabir, this is by Rahim. Okay, I remember. Rahiman Dhaga Prem Ka, something like that. It is. I just forgot. Any of you remember this?
Search करो.
रहीमन धागा प्रेम का कुछ तो है इसमें, राइट. जो प्रेम का धागा है उसको बहुत संभाल के ऑपरेट करना चाहिए उसके साथ में, क्योंकि अगर वो एक बार अगर तोड़ देंगे आप उसको, तो बाद में क्या होगा, उसको वापस जोड़ने का यू कैन ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट टू जॉइन इट अगेन, बट क्या होगा उसमें गांठ लग जाएगी एक्चुअली. So this is also very important aspect कि जब भी हम if we come across some difficulties, then it's always good to present the figures to the people, some facts to the people, and to ask for the clarification rather than judging them or rather than blaming them like that. Just like in this case, we can see that how now see Kekai was having an option. If only she could have just consulted, okay, ठीक है, okay, I have got to hear from Mantra this version that how Dashath is trying to favor Kaushalya and Ram. Okay, let me once talk with the Dashath that okay, why he's into such a hurry, why he has not waited for the Bharat to return back. If only she could have asked the Dashath, then the story would have been completely different. Dashath could have told, like madam was bringing out that it was also Dasharatha's fault. Actually, what happens is sometimes you see, sometimes we just get some longing in the heart. So same thing happened with Dasharath. In the Ramayana, this comes at how all of a sudden Dasharath got a very strong feeling in the heart that, oh, let me just now give up these things, and I just let me now fully dedicate myself for the God consciousness. So it was like a all of a sudden desire which came in the heart. That's why he just acted in that particular manner. So, but if only Kekai could have asked Dasharath, then he could have got a very good clarification about that, and then the whole problem would have ended at that point itself. But what happened is, because she didn't ask for the clarification, she made up her mind, she made some notions, some conceptions, and because of which what happened is she got the difficulties. So this is an important thing which we have to learn, that how clarification need to be sought, and that has to be also sought in a non-accusatory manner. This is what we can learn from this particular episode. Okay. Also, another thing which can help us here Tushar has written very wonderfully. You see, he mentions here, for protecting ourselves from the disinformation. So this is what is a disinformation. Disinformation is the wrong information. And nowadays, of course, there's so much, because now is the age of information. We have so much technology available with us nowadays. We have internet, we have smartphones, and so many things are there nowadays. So much of the information keeps floating here and there. In the earlier times, people didn't used to know about others, but now whatever is happening, like today now, that Queen Elizabeth's final things are happening now. So now everyone is aware, whoever is in the internet. When I opened today my YouTube, when I opened my this browser today, or there already this video was coming, that how Elizabeth's final rites are happening now. So nowadays, because it's a age of information, blast of the information. So a lot of information we'll get to hear from here and there, right? But it is very important for us to have a discrimination, to be able to have a right discrimination to see that which information is worthy to be accepted and which information is maybe wrong. That kind of, we also need to have that intellectual discrimination power. So this is very important. So one other thing which we can learn here is that how, if we want to protect ourselves from this disinformation, then we also need to strengthen ourselves. And how to strengthen ourselves? We have to strengthen in our two aspects of life. Okay. So one thing is, we have an intellectual aspect of our life, and we also have our ethical aspect of our life. Okay. So what is the meaning of intellectual aspect of our life? Intellect stands for the intelligence. So the function of the intelligence is what? Can anyone say? What is the function of our intelligence? We have our intelligence, right? What do we do with our intelligence generally?
Decision.
Somebody told decision making. Yes, Manish told about decision making. Correct, right?
Collect the information and make the decision.
Very correct, right? So basically, we compare. Intelligence helps us to discriminate between the right thing and the wrong thing. Okay. So based upon whatever scripts we have taken in our system, and based upon that, we are able to make certain decisions. So the function of the intelligence is to help us have discrimination. What is right, what is wrong. Okay. And also intelligence also helps us with the willpower to act upon the right decisions in our life. So if we have intellectual strength, so what is the meaning of intellectual strength? Means to be able to have right discrimination in our life, to be able to judge properly that what is right, what is wrong, what is the right course of event, what is the wrong course of event. So that is the meaning of having proper intellectual strength. Okay. So it is mentioned that how with a stronger intellect, we can find the disingenuity in the disinformation. So if we have a stronger intelligence means what? If our discrimination is very proper, we know that what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing. Then even if some disinformation comes in our life, then we can immediately find out that whether this can be true or not. Like just like in the case of Kekai now, if she would have a better intelligence, then the very proposal which Mantra made in front of her, she would have immediately dismissed that. If she would have a better intelligence, because she has seen, she has seen the character of Ram, she has seen the character of Kaushalya, she has seen the character of Dasharath. Lifelong, she has seen Dasharath, Dasharath was a person of such great character. He was a person of such great integrity, such great morality. So he can never make any wrong decision at all. And same way with Kaushalya also, and with Ram also you'll find, right? No? But what happened, because she was not having that strong intellectual power, that's why she was not able to make a proper discrimination with the information which she got in the life. Okay. So it's very important that how, if we want to have a strong intellectual. We need to have a strong intellect to be able to have a proper discrimination. Okay. And see, how do we get this discrimination power? Like what is right, what is wrong? How can we know? When we are staying in this world, how can we know that what is right, what is wrong? Any inputs? Like if you see your own life, like what is the reference point for you to consider anything as the right or the wrong?
Ethical
Past.
value.
Past references, past. We need to see the past if we have some
So
interaction.
ma'am told about past references, okay. And sir, you were telling about
Ethical value, ethics.
okay, some ethical values which we have learned. Okay, so based upon that also we know that what is right, what is wrong. Okay, any other inputs? हमारे लाइफ में हम कैसे देख सकते हैं कि क्या चीज सही है, क्या चीज गलत है, राइट? उसके लिए हमारे क्या रेफरेंसेस होने चाहिए? ओके, एक इनपुट आया है यहाँ पे, विजडम फ्रॉम द वेदास. ओके, गुड. So Kamal ji has spelled out wisdom from the Vedas. Okay, good, right? You see, one very important thing now we can learn here is that you see, in this world where we stay, there are multiple types of opinion among the people. Okay, something which may be not considered good in our Indian society may be considered good in some other societies, correct? So then the question is that okay, what is actually the right thing or what is actually the wrong thing, isn't it? There must be some common reference point, isn't it? That's why there comes the need of the Shastras. There comes the need of the scriptures. Because scriptures, they are being given by the God and they're like the manuals of our life. So they're the manuals for life. Okay, so they very clearly state that what is the right course of action for us and what is the wrong course of action. Just like, for example, like we are staying in this country. Now, say, for example, like in India now. So now we have a government of India which is functional, okay? And now the government of India has, they have discriminated that what is the right course of action and what are the criminal activities, correct? So the government of India decides that what is the right course of actions and what are the wrong things, right? If you will do the right course of actions, then you will get some better opportunities. If you do some wrong things, then you will be punished by the law, correct? Same way, there's a universal government also operating at the level of the universe. So I think आप लोगों ने सुना होगा laws of karma के बारे में. How there are some laws of karma. Like whatever activities we do in this life, based upon that only we get different results. And that is the reason that we find that differences. You know, some people are born into some rich families, some people are born into some poor families. Some people are having some kind of face cut, some people are having some other kind of face cut. Some people are having better opportunities financially, educationally, etc., etc. So why these differences are there? Our Shastras explain that it is all because of the laws of karma. Okay, so whatever activities we have done in this life and in the previous life, based upon that we get certain opportunities in our life. Okay, but I will not get into detail right now. So the point was, the thing is that just like what is right, what is wrong for a country or within a country, that is being defined by the government. Same way for this cosmic world where we are living, the God is there in the control and he has defined that what are the right course of activities, what are the wrong course of activities. And we get to know about them from the scriptures, from the Shastras, from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavatam, from the Bible, from the Quran. They're all like the manuals of life, which can teach us that what is right course of action and what is the wrong course of action. Okay. So we have to align ourselves with the right course of actions as given in the Shastras. Okay. So I was coming back to our real point, original point. We were discussing about the discrimination, how we can develop proper discrimination in our life. So if we will have knowledge of the Vedic wisdom, or if we will have the knowledge of the scriptures, then we will be able to very clearly make out that what is the right course of action, what is the wrong course of action. Because otherwise, you see, if we will keep it up to the individual, suppose if all of us get our individual choices, okay, we can define that what is good, what is bad, right? Then there will be differences, correct? Every one of us will define it different ways. Or somebody, you know, for example, like somebody is a, let us say, now somebody is a thief, let us say, right? Now he may make a leaf that, okay, thievery is not a bad thing. Thievery should be done by everyone. He may make such kind of law only. Correct? So it is not up to the individuals we can keep to this thing. This being defined by the God in the scriptures. And they teach us that what is the right course of action, what is the wrong course of action. Okay. So this is one thing, that how, if we want to have proper discrimination in our life, then we have to refer to the Shastras. Shastras teaches us very clearly that what is the right course of action, what is the wrong course of action. Okay. So this is one thing, that we have to develop a strong intellectual power or strong intellectual muscle. And second thing is, we also need to have some strong ethical muscles. So ethical muscles, or we can say moral muscles. Okay. You see, there are many things in our life we know we should not do. But then what happens when the temptations comes in our life, then we are not able to resist them. That happens in all of our life right now. Why it is? Because we don't have sufficient ethical muscles. We don't have sufficient moral muscles in our life. So then how those things can come in our life? Like that, it's not that just knowing is not sufficient many of the times. You may know that what is right, what is wrong. But then again, to act upon the right thing also requires a lot of determination, a lot of willpower. So that willpower also comes by the spiritual practices in our life, by the means of the yoga, by the means of the meditation. And in our tradition, we do chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We chant certain mantra. So by the means of that, what happens is we're able to develop a strong ethical muscle also, where we get a strength to do the right action. We get a willpower to do the right action. So this is very important that how if you want to protect ourselves from the disinformation, then we have to develop these two strengths: intellectual strength and the ethical strength, which will come by studying the Shastras, by the knowledge of the Shastras. Like here now, we're trying to discuss about the Shastras only. It will help you to develop your ethical muscles and your intellectual muscles. And also by taking to some spiritual practices, maybe some meditation and some chanting, etc. This is very important, what we can learn. No? So this was one thing which he has written here. With better ethical muscles, we can resist the promises of the quick pleasure that the disinformation presents. Also, another thing is written, devotional study of the scriptures give us the intellectual power, okay, as I already discussed. Also, devotional remembrance of the Lord provides us the higher inner fulfillment that empowers to say no to the lower temptations. Okay, so this is also another thing, that if we have spiritual practices, if we are able to have some higher taste coming from the spiritual practices, then we'll be able to find the inner fulfillment. And then we can say no to the bad temptations which may come across in our life. Okay, this was one thing we can learn here from the character of this Kekai and the mantra, that how we have to be very much aware of the disinformation coming in our life. We have to have some guides in our life who can help us to identify things in a proper perspective. We also need to have some proper guides in our life. Also, one more thing what we were thinking of discussing was, also see there's disinformation from the outside world. Okay, there are people who puts up some disinformation in our system. Okay, so externally also there is a source of disinformation, but internally also we have a source of disinformation in all of our systems, right? There's something in all of us, inbuilt thing, which always keeps talking to us, different things, and it is basically our mind. We always have our mind with us, So mind also keeps us, bringing different varieties of doubts, different types of things in our minds constantly. You'll find, right? So that's why we have to also protect ourselves from this, from our minds, from our contaminated minds, because otherwise what happens is, if you will, sometimes the mind may propose to us some bad things, and we may also put our faith upon the dirty mind. So actually the mantra also represents our minds. So one comparison is being made in the Ramayana, how Ayodhya represents our hearts, okay, and mantra represents our minds, and we are who? We are like the Kaikais. So sometimes, suppose if our mind is not pure, if our mind is not capable of giving us the good instructions, so if it is acting like mantra, let us say, and we tend to innocently follow our mind, the bad inputs coming from our mind, then what will happen is, we will end up driving Lord Ram from our hearts. Just like mantra became the instrument for driving away Lord Ram from the city of the Ayodhya. So that's why we have to also internally protect ourselves. We have to have we should not be misled by our dirty minds, and so we should be vigilant what kind of things the mind is telling. Okay, so one of the very important thing is, we have to load our mind with good inputs. So when we hear from the Shastras and all, then it loads us with some good inputs for our mind. It gives us some good things to have contemplation upon, to think upon. So more we purify our minds with these good inputs, then we will find that we'll be also have our proper actions also. It has been said that how watch your thoughts, because they are going to define your actions. Watch your actions, because they are going to define your habits. Watch your habits, because they are going to define your character. Watch your character, because it is going to define your destiny. So everything is interrelated. What kind of thoughts are there in our minds? They define our action. They define our speech. The speech define our actions. Actions defines our habits. Habits define our character, and ultimately that is what leads us to the proper destination. So that's why it's very important to give the good inputs to the mind. Okay, that is how we can also protect ourselves from the mantra of the mind, which all of us are having in our life. So anyways, time is also up. I think we are just having 2 more minutes remaining for the time. So this is what we wanted to discuss. Just to summarize, what we could discuss today is we try to particularly focus upon this particular pastime, what we also call as the Leela, the particular pastime where we are finding the conversation between the mantra and the Kekai. And what we learned from this particular episode is we learned some valuable lessons that how in our relationships it is very important for us to be very, very honest and to always have sought for the clarifications, that also in a non-accusatory manner, that can save us from a lot of complexities of our of relationships in our lives. And if we have good relationships in our lives, then we can feel very great satisfaction in our life. So we have to protect ourselves from the disinformation which is there outside. Also, we have to protect ourselves from the disinformation which comes from our own mind, from our own contaminated mind. And that can very easily happen when we connect with the spiritual wisdom coming from the Shastras, because they load us with a lot of wonderful inputs. They load us with a lot of good discrimination. If we will have that in our life, then we can go in a very, very smooth journey. Okay. So like that, you'll find there are many wonderful lessons more in the Ramayana. And subsequently, maybe next time, most probably, our senior that Maharaj will be able to take that session for all of you. So thank you so much. If there is some comment by you, if you want to say some comments, then you are most welcome.
Thank you so much, Tushar Prabhuji, for such a lovely presentation. And you have used all the very good pictures.
This credit goes to Tushar. He has made this PPT.
Tushar Prabhuji, lovely presentation.